This has to be one of the funniest things you'll see. So you know how the panelists on The View are always throwing shade at celebrities who don't vibe with their progressive takes? Well, in the beginning of last year, Killer Mike, yeah, the Grammy-winning rapper, went on their show and man, it got political fast. But here's the kicker, Mike didn't just hold his own, he totally shut Sunny Hostin down in the most epic way possible. Trust me, you're gonna want to stick around to see how it all went down. Oh, and before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more juicy breakdowns like this. Let's get into it.
Now, telling people not to stop dreaming.
No, you cannot stop dreaming.
Anything is possible.
You have to. You have to keep whatever 9-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old is in your head, keep that child alive. No matter what you see in the mirror, you're still that child. And your imagination has to be bigger than the room, bigger than the building, bigger than the sky, because if you keep the imagination alive, everything is possible.
That's right.
When you limit your imagination, nothing becomes as possible as it could be. So,
if you haven't heard of Killer Mike, he's a major rapper from Atlanta and part of the duo Run the Jewels. He started out as a lyricist and really carved his own lane by mixing hip-hop with activism, which made him stand out in the rap game. On top of his music career, Killer Mike's become a huge voice for change, fighting for policies that support black communities. He's earned a lot of respect for being able to connect with all kinds of people while staying true to his message. By the start of last year, his career hit a whole new level. He won 3 Grammys for his album Michael, picking up awards for Best Rap Album, Best Rap Performance, and Best Rap Song. Now, you'd think when he went on The View, just a few days after such a huge win, it would be all celebration, right? But nope. Things got a little weird. Instead of congratulating him, Sunny Hostin came at him with some pretty tough questions, almost like she had a personal problem with him. You've got to see how it all went down.
You know, I'm a former prosecutor.
yeah.
And there were some other headlines that came out. And I was very upset about it.
Yeah.
Because it was unnecessary, and you don't do that on that special night.
Yeah.
Especially for what I read about.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna ask you is, there was an incident at the Grammys. It led to you being taken out in handcuffs and arrested. That was wrong. Obviously, it's an ongoing legal matter, so I don't know how much you can say about it.
Well, as a prosecutor, you know I can't say it.
You can't say much. But can you just give us some sort of description, because people are they're talking too much.
I think the backstage was overcrowded. I think the winners were exuberant. I think security got a little overzealous, and that's all. It's all, you know, it's water under the bridge for me.
Yeah.
I like to say all of my heroes have been in handcuffs: Malcolm, Martin, Mandela, Medgar. So, you know, I walked out with the same dignity and respect that I walked in with, and I would implore people to just take that from it. Don't dwell on the bad stuff. And the next morning...
Crazy, right? So what she's talking about here is how Killer Mike got arrested the night of the Grammys after a little altercation with security backstage. He was released pretty quickly, but it kind of felt like Sunny was trying to distract from his big win by bringing up some drama. It was almost like the only thing she cared about from that night was his arrest. And as a former prosecutor, she definitely knows Mike can't say much about an open case, so bringing it up didn't add anything to the conversation, except for making sure everyone knew that this incident even happened. But Mike, he didn't back down. He turned that moment into another example of his strength and refusal to let negativity define him. Things quickly took a political turn though, and it became clear what the panel's real agenda was. Check out what Elisa Farah asked him next.
You're equally well known for being a political activist on top of your music, and you were a campaign surrogate for Bernie Sanders. You campaigned for your home state Democratic Senators Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff.
Yep.
Yeah, and you got some attention recently for being somewhat critical of President Biden, saying you weren't ready to endorse him yet. What's your holdup there?
What's my holdup? Well, first of all, I think everyone should focus on hyper-local. We get caught up in the soap opera of federal elections, and that's fine. But if you are concerned with the federal election, you don't know who your city council or your wardsman is, you don't know who your mayor is, and you don't have a good list of state representatives or governor, then you're just a part of whoever wins the Super Bowl or fanfare. Even though we have a Republican governor, Brian Kemp, I have a good relationship with him. I like what he's done in terms of Georgia business. We've been leading business amongst all states for the last 10 years, and he brought back the Hope Scholarship and expanded it. So if you're a kid in Georgia, you're poor, you got a B average, you can go to college for free or trade school. So in my community, girls are going to college, but boys don't have anywhere to go, and they're not choosing to. In my community, I have a push for trades. That's why I support organizations like Georgia Youth Build. I support organizations like Next Level Boys Academy because they usher out boys. I need my daughters to be able to marry somebody.
Right.
So, and even in that case, I have said, okay, this governor's doing a good job. In terms of nationally, I'm just kind of doing what my grandfather said, staying out of white folks' business and watching what happens.
That question was kind of a setup, trying to make him feel bad for not endorsing Joe Biden. But as Killer Mike said, he's been a force for good in Atlanta for a long time. He's all about helping the community, especially when it comes to improving the lives of young Black Americans. In another interview, Mike mentioned, "My grandmother would take me and have me sit there like Saley in The Color Purple just watching shit go down," he recalls. So as this happens, I asked her, "Why do you do this?" She says, "Because this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to help your neighbor." That never left me. That lesson stuck with him, and it's what drives his activism today. Killer Mike has used his platform to inspire young people, focusing on education, economic empowerment, and getting involved in the community. He's proof that you can be successful and still stay true to your roots. But as you can guess, Sonny was not happy that a celebrity of his stature wasn't following her political agenda, and that's when things really started to heat up.
You lost me a little bit with your support of Kemp, but let me tell you this.
Not supportive
some of his policies.
I mean, that's some misinformation. You cannot like me, but don't lie on me. I saw someone I really respect, a Black woman who's a commentator.
So you don't support him, you
she
like
said,
his policies.
Well, I support
Some specific ones he named.
Beyond it, he's the governor of my state, so I have to be involved with him because I can't divorce myself. But let me say this. If you criticize someone, don't lie. Don't say I didn't support Abrams because I did. Don't say that I don't support Democrats because I've helped get 3 Democratic mayors elected. I've helped get 2 state representatives elected. But if someone is in the king's seat, I'm not going to not have dinner with the king on the behalf of my people. I have to do that.
This is wild, right? It really says a lot about Killer Mike's take on leadership and politics. The guy's not out here pushing a political agenda. His deal with the government was about making real change for the community. He's not interested in picking sides just to look good. It's all about getting things done. Mike's main goal has always been to help the community, no matter who's in power. And honestly, that's the kind of practical, results-focused mindset we need more of today, especially with how divided things are. Politicians come and go, but the community's what's lasting. Mike gets that making a real impact means working with whoever's in charge to make things happen. He even mentioned in another interview that people got mad that I didn't publicly support their candidate, but they forget the ones I did publicly support. Then they'll lie and say I did publicly support someone else. Mike says, "I'm gonna put out dope art, and if my art strikes you, it strikes you, but I'm not a politician's tool." In a time when political loyalty often comes before real progress, Killer Mike's way of thinking stands out. He's showing how you can work with leaders on both sides of the aisle without losing your principles. That's the kind of attitude we need to bring people together and tackle the real issues affecting everyday Americans. What do you think about all this? Do you agree with Mike's take? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it.